Chosen one, listen closely. What Thursday brings is yours alone. And God has already said, tell no one. Do not post it. Do not whisper it to your closest friend. Do not even speak it aloud in an empty room. Something has been moving in the unseen realm for weeks, and the reason you have felt strange, the reason conversations have lost their flavor, the reason your spirit has been pulling inward, it is because heaven is repositioning something on Thursday that has your name on it, not theirs, not the group chat, not the people who will want credit later, yours alone. And the instruction attached to it is sacred, tell no one. Because the last time you told someone, it delayed everything. You know exactly what I am talking about. You have felt the sting of premature revelation. This time is different. This time the Father is covering the promise himself. If you will hold his secret, he will hold your door. This message found you because you are the kind of person who can keep what is holy. Stay with me until the end. Before I go any further, I need you to do something. Stop scrolling. Stop the multitasking. If there are people around you, this message is not for them. This is for you and the Father, and no one else in this moment. Close the other tabs, lower the volume of the world, take a real breath, and let it go slowly. Slow your whole body down. This is not a casual moment. What I am about to share with you is holy ground, and holy ground requires preparation. Now that you are here with me, let me tell you exactly what you will carry out of this message. By the end of what you are about to hear, you will understand why this silence season has been happening, and you will stop calling it loneliness. You will have a very specific protocol to use in the hours before Thursday, so you do not accidentally lose what God is placing in your hands. And at the very end, I am going to speak something over your life, a real activation that I believe will stay with you long after you close this video. 3 things: understanding, protocol, activation. Do not leave before the activation. That is the piece the enemy of your peace wants you to miss the most. Now let me tell you what I see happening in your life right now, and you will know every word of it is true. You have been different this week. You have been quieter than usual, and not because you are sad, not because you are tired, but because something inside you is guarding a flame. You feel it. Even when you try to act normal, something is different, and you cannot explain it to the people around you without sounding strange. Listen to the first sign. You have been losing interest in conversations that used to feed you. The same people, the same topics, the same social rhythms you once enjoyed, and suddenly they feel hollow. It is not that you love those people less. It is that you have been promoted into a different frequency, and the old topics cannot reach where you now live. The depth has moved, the hunger has shifted, and the surface no longer satisfies you. Listen to the second sign. You have been starting to tell someone something important, and stopping in the middle of the sentence, the words get stuck at the top of your throat. Not because you are afraid, because a hand you cannot see is gently closing your mouth. Your spirit already knows something your mind has not caught up to yet. Do not fight that hand. That hand is saving you. Listen to the third sign. One specific word has been repeating in you for days. The word is wait. You hear it when you wake up. You feel it when you are about to make a decision you would normally make in a second. It is not anxiety. It is instruction. Your spirit is being trained in the posture of the thing before the thing arrives. Listen to the fourth sign. The word Thursday has been appearing around you. In a song you half heard on the radio, in a conversation you walked past in a store, in a number you glanced at on a clock without meaning to. You have tried to tell yourself it is just coincidence. It is not coincidence. The Father is marking the day on purpose, so your spirit will be ready, and so you will know when to fall silent. And listen to the fifth sign. You are running out of tolerance for people and places that drain your peace. You do not have the energy to pretend anymore. Environments that used to feel fine now feel suffocating. This is not you becoming antisocial or bitter. This is your frequency rising, and old frequencies cannot keep up with where God is taking you. If you are still here with me right now, I want you to pause and notice something. Most people would have scrolled past this by now. You did not scroll. You stayed. That is not random. Something in you recognized exactly what I just named, and the recognition itself is the first proof that this message was made for you before you even clicked on it. If what I just described is happening in your life, I want you to do one small thing for me. Type the words, "I see it," in the comments. Not because I need the comment to feel good about this video. Do it because when you type it, you are confirming to your own spirit that you are not crazy and that you are not walking this season alone. 3 words, "I see it." Your fingers speaking what your heart already knows. And while you are here with me, stay connected to this space. There are more words being prepared for the season you are walking into, and they will find you if you stay close. Join this small community of chosen ones who are walking through the exact same shift you are walking through. You think you are alone in this, but you are not. You never were. Now come closer, because I am about to tell you why heaven is making you carry this in silence. And it is not what you think. What God is growing in you right now was not meant for daylight yet. The seed does not announce itself to the soil. It does not need permission from the world above to become what it already is underground. And if you pull it up too early to check if it is growing, you kill the very thing you were trying to protect. You have been feeling pulled inward because the seed is at the most delicate stage of becoming, and the Father has placed you in a quiet place, not to punish you, but to protect what is forming in you. The silence is not rejection. The silence is royalty. And by the end of this message, you will know exactly why. But there is something much deeper here, and I cannot leave you without showing it to you. There is a Hebrew word that God has been whispering into this moment, and when I tell you what that word means and what it has meant for 3,000 years, you are going to understand the last 6 months of your life in a way you have never understood them before. Stay with me. What comes next changes everything. Welcome back. If you stayed through the first part of this message, it means your spirit already knows something important is about to land, and I am not going to waste the moment. Remember what I said at the end about the reason heaven is making you carry this Thursday promise in silence? That was only the seed. Now, let me show you the tree. In the book of Psalms, chapter 25, verse 14, there is a line that has been waiting 3,000 years to find you tonight. The verse says, "The secret of the Lord is with them that fear him, and he will show them his covenant." Most English Bibles simply use the word secret, but that translation is only a shadow of what the original word truly means. The original word is a Hebrew word. The word is sod. Sod is not a casual secret. Sod is not gossip, or a small surprise, or a piece of information you are hiding for a minute. Sod is the intimate, confidential counsel that a king shares only with those he trusts completely. Sod is what happens in the innermost room of the palace, where only the closest advisors are allowed to sit. Sod is not a secret that hides you. Sod is a secret that promotes you. And here is what I want you to hear right now. You have been pulled into sod. That is why conversations that used to feed you now feel hollow. That is why you cannot explain what is happening to most people, even the ones you love most. That is why even your closest friends suddenly seem to be on the wrong frequency whenever you try to share what is stirring inside you. You have not grown cold. You have not become distant. You have not turned into someone unkind, even though a small guilty voice in you has been whispering that you have. No, you have been promoted into the inner room. And what happens in the inner room does not leave the inner room. That is not a rule someone imposed on you. It is the natural law of that holy place. Sod does not survive being spoken outside of Sod. So, what felt like isolation was actually insulation. What felt like silence was actually sanctuary. What felt like distance was actually distillation. The Father did not pull you away from everyone because he loves you less than them. He pulled you away because what is being poured into you cannot be poured in a crowded room. And I hear the Father saying something right now that I want you to hold carefully. He is saying, I will tell you a secret because you have proven that you can hold mine. I will trust you with what I cannot trust others with, not because they are less loved, but because you are differently assigned. Let that settle for a moment. You are differently assigned. Now, some of you right now are feeling something complicated because a part of you knows this is true, and a part of you is already thinking, why should I trust this silence this time? I have been here before. I have waited before. I have tried to hold something before, and I lost it anyway. Let me answer that fear with a story that has been told for thousands of years, and that, I believe, was preserved in the scriptures specifically so you could hear it on this exact night. There was a young man named Joseph. The father gave him a dream, a clear, undeniable dream about his own future. In the dream he saw that he would rise, that his own family would one day bow to him, that his life would carry a weight the people around him did not yet see. And what did Joseph do with that dream? He told his brothers. He was young. He was excited. He wanted them to see what he had seen. He wanted confirmation. He wanted witnesses. But his brothers were not ready for that seed. They did not have the soil for it. And when Joseph laid his dream in front of them, their jealousy became the frost that killed the ground. The seed went into the wrong earth. Days later, they threw him into a pit and sold him into slavery. 20 years of his life disappeared into prison, into delay, into the pit he was never supposed to end up in, all because the seed was shown too early to soil that could not hold it. Joseph paid the Joseph price, and I call it the Joseph price, because that is what premature revelation costs every chosen one who tells too soon. But there is a second story in the scriptures, and I want you to notice how different it is. A young woman named Mary received a word from heaven that was bigger than any word Joseph ever received. She was told she would carry the Son of God. A promise so impossible, so sacred, so world-changing, that any young woman in her position would have wanted to run out and prove it was real. But the scripture says something very quiet about Mary. It says, she kept all these things and pondered them in her heart. She did not tell. She pondered. She let the word go deep into her own inner room, where it could grow without interference from people who were not ready to hear it. And because Mary held her sod, her promise came into the world fully, on time, protected. Joseph told and lost. Mary pondered and received. You, chosen one, are being given the Mary path. Joseph ran ahead of the promise. Mary walked alongside the promise. Joseph revealed it. Mary pondered it. Joseph lost 20 years. Mary changed the world. And I want you to hear this very carefully. The reason you are being given the Mary path is not because you are better than Joseph. It is because Joseph already paid the price so that you would not have to. You get to inherit the promise without paying the pit. That is grace. That is divine strategy. That is why the Father is so specific with you in this moment. And I hear the Father saying, I am not delaying you. I am protecting you from the delay you do not even know you are about to cause yourself. If you have just realized that you have been living in the Joseph pattern and you are ready to step out of it tonight, I want you to do something right now. Type the words, "I release the Joseph pattern," in the comments. Not as a wish, as a declaration. Because what you type, your spirit receives. And your spirit needs to hear you choose the Mary path tonight. And right now, all across the world, chosen ones are going through this exact same shift. They are sitting in the same silence you are sitting in. They are wondering the same things you are wondering. You are not walking this alone, even though the silence itself can make it feel that way. Before we go deeper, I want to ask you one small thing. Gently press the like button on this video, not for me. Do it so this message can reach another chosen one tonight who is sitting in the same silence you are sitting in, wondering if they are losing their mind. Your small action could be their exact confirmation. You become the messenger simply by pressing one button. Now, come closer with me, because we have talked about why the silence. We have talked about the Hebrew word for the place you have been pulled into. We have talked about the two patterns in the scriptures and the price one of them paid. But there is something I have not told you yet, something I have been waiting for the right moment to say. There is a weapon that the enemy of your peace uses against every chosen one in this exact season. A weapon that has taken down people far greater than you. A weapon so invisible that most people do not even realize it is being used against them until the damage is already done. And in the next part of this message, I am going to name that weapon for you so you can see it clearly, and so it can never be used against you again. Stay with me. What is coming is the peace that changes everything. The weapon the enemy uses against every chosen one in this season is called premature revelation. That is the name. That is the technology. And once you see it, you will see it everywhere in your own story. Premature revelation is not about telling lies. It is about telling truth too soon. It is about taking something that was handed to you in the secret place and laying it on a table where people are not ready to honor it. It does not look like a sin. It looks like excitement. It looks like sharing. It looks like wanting witnesses to your joy. And that is exactly why it is such an effective weapon. It wears the costume of a good thing. Let me take you back to a specific moment in your own life. I want you to find it with me. There was a time, not long ago, when God gave you something, a word, a sign, an opportunity on the horizon, and you could feel it humming inside you, a quiet electricity under your skin. Now see the exact scene. You were somewhere ordinary. Maybe you were sitting in your car in a parking lot, with the engine still running and the sound of the world muffled outside the window. Maybe you were at your kitchen table late in the evening, with one small light on and the rest of the room in shadow. Maybe you were on your couch, holding your phone, with a particular person's name already typed in the message bar. And you felt it then, that little pulse in your chest, that small hesitation that said, wait. A hand you could not see was gently trying to close your mouth. But the excitement was louder than the hand. The need to be seen was louder than the whisper, so you told. And I want you to remember what happened inside you, just a few hours after you told. It was not regret, exactly. It was more like a draft of cold air blowing across a candle you thought was protected. Something about the promise got smaller after you spoke it, and in the days that followed, you watched the thing you were so excited about either disappear or delay or arrive in a shape you did not recognize as the gift you had been promised. That was not bad luck. That was the cost of premature revelation. Every time you tell too soon, you dig up the seed to check if it is growing. And here is the truth that is not comfortable, but is necessary. Seeds do not survive being examined. And right now, I hear the Father saying something over your life. He is saying, do not let the seed out of the ground before the harvest. Do not pull up tomorrow's bread to prove it to today's skeptics. What I have buried for you, I have buried on purpose. The darkness around the seed is not your enemy. The darkness is the womb. Let that land for a moment. Now, I know something has been sitting in your chest for days, maybe weeks, and I want to speak to it directly because you have been feeling guilty. You have been feeling guilty for not telling your best friend what is stirring in you. You have been feeling guilty for not explaining yourself to your family when they ask why you have been so distant lately. You have been feeling guilty for leaving phone calls unreturned, for avoiding certain conversations, for needing more space than you used to need. And a voice in you has been whispering that you are being selfish, that you are being cold, that you are abandoning the people who love you. I need you to hear me clearly right now. What you are carrying is not cruelty, it is consecration. And consecration always looks like withdrawal before the world can understand what was being formed. So let me speak something over you right now, and I want you to receive it in full. You are allowed to not explain yourself to people who have not earned the sod. You are allowed to not defend a silence that God Himself is the author of. You are allowed to not answer questions that come from curiosity rather than covenant. You are allowed to outgrow conversations that used to fit you. You are allowed to protect what God is forming in you, even from people who love you, because love without understanding can still damage the seed. And you are allowed to walk through this season without apologizing for becoming who you were always meant to be. Now, here is the practical piece I promised you in the beginning of this message. I am going to give you a tool you can use in the next 72 hours, a tool I call the Sacred Silence Protocol. It has 3 circles. Learn these 3 circles, and you will never lose another promise to premature revelation again. The first circle is yours alone. In this circle, it is only you and God. This is where the full content of the promise lives, the entire shape of it, the full weight of it, the exact words that were spoken to your spirit. Nothing from this circle ever leaves this circle until harvest. The second circle is 2 or 3 trusted souls, not more. These are not advisors, these are not cheerleaders, these are prayer warriors who will stand with you without asking for the details. You tell them your posture, not the promise. You say, I am in a sacred season, pray for me, and they do, without demanding to know what for. The third circle is everyone else, your co-workers, your social circle, the internet. This circle receives nothing until the promise has already manifested into visible form. And even then, you only speak from the third circle when the Spirit clearly tells you to. The third circle exists to celebrate what is, not to be consulted about what is coming. Circle 1 is sacred, Circle 2 is limited, Circle 3 is silent until harvest. Let me tell you about a chosen one who walked this exact protocol. About 9 months ago, his life was in the middle of a full collapse. A major contract he had been building for 2 years was suddenly cancelled. People he thought were allies turned into accusers in a single week, and the voice in his head was screaming at him to go public, to defend his name, to tell everyone his side of the story. Instead, he did the opposite. He entered 40 days of strategic silence. He deleted his social media. He stopped explaining himself to people who had already made up their minds about him. He poured everything into the first circle, between him and God, and he let the second circle hold his posture while he trusted the process. On day 38 of his silence, a company he had never contacted called him directly. They offered him a position twice the size of what he had lost, with terms better than he had ever dreamed of asking for. He proved himself in silence before he promoted himself in public. That is the pattern. If you are still here with me, if you have been listening for this long, I want you to notice what just happened. You did not just hear a principle. You received a protocol, a piece of scripture, a hidden word from an ancient language, and a true story that confirms all of it. That is not an accident. Something is being activated in you right now, and your spirit knows it. If you are claiming this protocol for your own life, type the words, "I receive sacred silence," in the comments right now. Let your fingers be the first proof that your spirit has accepted the gift. Now, here is something I cannot leave without telling you, because there is one more piece of this, and it is a piece that most people in this space never hear. There is a scientist who has spent 34 years of his life studying the exact place where the spiritual and the neurological meet. His name is Dr. Robert Lake, and his work, including what is known as the youthful brain and other branches of his research, has confirmed something ancient from the laboratory. The human brain has a specific frequency, a kind of native signal that allows a person to hold what is holy without leaking it. Children are born with this frequency. Most people lose it by the age of 7. And when that frequency is lost, the seed cannot survive underground, no matter how strong your willpower is. I am going to tell you about the tool he built that tunes that frequency back on, but I am not going to tell you about it yet, because there is something sacred about how this piece needs to land, and I do not want to rush it. Stay with me. What is coming next is the tool that protects the soil while the seed does its work. So come with me into the room most people never get invited into. Before I can tell you about the tool, I have to tell you what the tool is actually tuning. Because this is not a motivational gadget. This is not a gimmick. This is the missing piece that explains why you have felt so different for so long. Your brain has a specific kind of signal called a gamma wave. Gamma is the frequency of genius, of intuition, of flow, of those moments when the right words come out of your mouth without you planning them, when the right decision becomes obvious without you forcing it, when time seems to bend around you and everything falls into place. Gamma is not a lucky state. Gamma is your original factory setting. Children under the age of 7 are full of gamma. That is why they learn languages in months. That is why they speak truths the adults around them are afraid to say. That is why they see things most of us have been trained not to see. And then, something called the decline effect begins. The school system, the culture, the constant noise of screens and schedules and survival, all of it slowly dials down the gamma, until by the time most people are adults, they are operating on about 30% of the signal they were born with. That is not a spiritual failure. That is a measurable neurological shift that has been mapped at MIT, at Princeton, at Harvard, and at several other leading research universities. Now here is what I want you to hear, and you need to hear it carefully, because this part is personal. You, chosen one, did not just lose a little gamma. You were born with more of it than most people. That is why the loss has hurt you more. That is why you have felt this invisible ache for years, a sense that you used to be something brighter and you cannot quite reach it anymore. That distance between the child you were and the adult you are is the distance of gamma, and that is the distance that has to close before Thursday can deliver what it is meant to deliver. Let me tell you about a woman. She had spent most of her adult life looking. She had tried meditation. She had tried yoga. She had gone on silent retreats, tried every spiritual book, every breathing course, every app, and she used to say, "It is like I can see the door, but I cannot find the handle." 2 weeks after she started using a specific audio tool that I will tell you about in a moment, she used one word to describe her life: synchronicities. The universe started speaking her language again. Months later, she moved on to neuroactive and other pieces of her journey, but she will tell anyone who asks, the genius song was where everything started. Now I know exactly what 3 things you are thinking right now. I know you are thinking, I have tried so many things before, why would this be different? And I understand that. Most of what you have tried was asking your brain to change itself from the inside. This is the opposite. This is a sound that tunes your brain from the outside, using measurable brain entrainment, the same way a tuning fork brings a piano into key, without the piano having to do anything. I know you are also thinking, this sounds too good to be true. And that hesitation is not weakness. It is the hesitation of someone who has been disappointed before. I am not asking you to believe me. I am asking you to let MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and the EEG data of 18,366 people speak for themselves. And I know you are thinking about money. I would never disrespect your financial situation by pretending $39 is nothing to you. For some of you, that is a real decision. So, before I even tell you what it costs, I want you to know, I see that, and the price architecture I am about to walk you through was built with that respect in mind. What Dr. Lake created is called the Genius Song. It is a 7-minute audio track. You put on headphones, you close your eyes, and you listen. That is it. No chanting, no journaling, no 4 in the morning rituals. Just 7 minutes, once a day, and the brain entrainment technology does the work while you simply receive. Now, let me walk you through the pricing, because the reference points matter. Traditional biofeedback therapy, the closest professional equivalent, costs $300 per hour and requires a trained technician. Home biofeedback equipment runs in the range of $7,000, and most people never figure out how to use it correctly. Dr. Lake compressed that entire world into one track. The original price is $49. And for people watching this message, he made a specific decision to lower it to $39 as a doorway for people who are actually in the season they were built for. That price does not exist on Amazon. It does not exist on Spotify. It exists here because the doorway was built here. At that price, you also receive 4 additional gifts, including the Genius Child Audio for Families, a classic book on abundance that inspired a very famous film, a guided visualization for the 4 main areas of life, and a printable infographic of the habits that anchor the work. And all of it is covered by a full money-back guarantee with no questions asked. The only real risk is not trying. And let me say this gently, because I do not want you to miss it. Every day that the gamma sleeps is a day the soil around your seed stays cold. Every decision made in static frequency is a decision that will need to be made again later in clarity. The future version of you, the one who has already crossed the Thursday threshold, is looking back at this exact moment and quietly asking you to protect the season you are in. This is not pressure. This is awareness. The decision does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be right. One last thing before we move on, because this matters. There are imitation websites, copycat tracks, and cheap audio files online that borrow the name of this technology, but carry none of the actual brain entrainment. The only way to receive the real tool, with the real technology, the 4 real bonuses, and the real money-back guarantee, is through the link in the description and the pinned comment of this video. Not Amazon, not Spotify, not any other platform. If you feel led to walk through that door, use only the link placed here for you. For those whose spirit has quietly confirmed that the genius song is part of your Thursday, you know where the doorway is. Only walk through it if you feel led. No pressure, no rush. Your spirit is the one that decides. Now, come back with me, because we are about to arrive at the revelation that reframes everything. All of this, the Hebrew word, the Joseph pattern, the weapon of premature revelation, the protocol, the tool that tunes the soil, all of it has been preparation for one simple truth about what Thursday is actually bringing. And here is the truth. Thursday is not primarily an external event. Thursday is not the day the contract shows up. Thursday is not the day the phone rings. Thursday is not the day the door swings open in public view. Thursday is the day you see the first green shoot. You are the farmer, and the seed does not announce itself to the neighborhood on the day it first breaks the surface. The seed announces itself to the farmer first, privately. In the early morning, when no one else is watching, that first green shoot is not the harvest. That first green shoot is the confirmation, whispered from the ground up to the person who planted in faith that what was underground is actually alive. Thursday is a confirmation day, not a performance day. And this is who you are inside that confirmation. You are the one who carries truth without needing a crowd to validate it. You are the one who sees first before anyone else has the eyes for it. You are the one who breaks the generational pattern of telling too soon, of leaking too early, of trading tomorrow's promise for today's applause. You are the one who worships in the sacred quiet where sod lives. You are the one who can hold. You are the one who can wait. You are the one who can keep what is holy. So let me tell you what really happened in the last 6 months of your life. What you thought was isolation was actually incubation. What you thought was delay was actually development. What you thought was silence was actually strategy. What you thought was rejection was actually royal seating. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was missed. You were not behind. You were being hidden on purpose. If this just landed in your spirit, if you feel the weight of it shifting what you thought about this whole season, I want you to type the words "I release the need to tell" in the comments right now. Say it as a declaration, not as a confession. Release the hunger to be witnessed. Release the need to prove. Release the version of you that needed humans to confirm what God already sealed. Take a breath with me. The hardest part is behind us. Now we activate. Take another breath, slowly, all the way in and all the way out. And let me take you somewhere inside yourself for a moment. Before the activation, I want to do something with you that is different from anything else in this message, because what I am about to speak over you needs a specific place inside you to land. And we are going to build that place together right now. Close your eyes if you can. If you are driving, keep them on the road, but imagine with me anyway. In your mind, I want you to see a wooden door. An old wooden door, solid and thick, with warm light around the edges of the frame. On that door, carved into the grain, is one word. The word is Thursday. You are standing in front of this door, not to open it, not yet. You are just standing there, letting it be real in front of you. In your hand, you notice there is now a sealed envelope, cream-colored, heavy paper, with your name written across it in handwriting that looks older than any language you know. The seal on the back is a warm red wax with a symbol you do not recognize, but that feels ancient and safe. You are not going to open the envelope. The Father is standing right next to you, and he is quietly asking you to do something simple. He is asking you to take that envelope and press it against your chest, right over your heart. So do it now, in your mind. Feel the weight of the paper against you. Feel the warmth of it, as if something living is inside it. And let it settle into that deep place inside you, the place where Sod lives, the place where the inner room has been built. And I want you to hear this, because this is not imagination, this is alignment. Your spirit is learning the posture of holding before Thursday asks you to hold. The envelope is already yours. You do not have to earn it. You do not have to open it. You do not have to prove it. You only have to carry it. Now, with that envelope over your heart, stay with me through what comes next, because we are going to do something that is older than prayer. We are going to activate. Father, we come before you tonight, not asking, but receiving. We thank you for every silent moment of the last 6 months, for every conversation we did not have, for every word we did not say, for every door we thought was closing that was actually being held shut for our protection. Thank you for the sod you have entrusted us with. Thank you for the promotion that wore the clothing of loneliness. You have seen every weight we carried in the dark. You have heard every question we held without speaking it. You have noticed every small act of faithfulness that no other human being witnessed. Nothing has been wasted in your economy. So now, we release. We release the need to be understood by people who are not in the inner room with us. We release the need to explain ourselves to those who only want the details. We release the need to prove that we are growing to people who will see the fruit later anyway. We release the old identity that needed applause to feel real. We release the Joseph pattern, the hunger to announce, the reflex to share too soon. We release the guilt we have carried for protecting what you have planted, and we release the fear that if we stay silent, we will be forgotten. We will not be forgotten. The sod has our name on it. Now we activate. We call forth the truth carrier who speaks only what is meant to be spoken. We call forth the seer who sees first, before anyone else has eyes. We call forth the cycle breaker who ends the pattern of telling too soon. We call forth the sacred worshipper who understands that silence is the highest form of worship. We activate every divine connection that has been held at the door waiting for the right frequency. We activate every sacred partnership, every open door, every piece of provision, every piece of restoration, every piece of assignment that was locked until the silence was learned. We cover this rising. We cover the seed from premature exposure. We cover the mouth from the old reflex of leaking the promise. We cover the ear from the voices that would talk us out of what you have already sealed. We cover this sacred season with a wall of silence that no weapon can penetrate. And now we declare, I am the one who can hold what is holy. I am the one who trusts divine timing more than human confirmation. I am the one who walks the Mary path, not the Joseph path. I am the one God trusts with sod. And I hear the Father saying tonight, my child, I have shown you my secret because I know you can carry it. I am not delaying you. I am crowning you. What arrives on Thursday is already yours. No one will take it from you, because the silence that guards it is unbreakable. It is sealed. It is sod. It is yours. And so it is. Amen. Do not say amen back to me yet. For the next 60 seconds, I want you to stay exactly where you are. Do not scroll. Do not move. Do not reach for your phone. Just sit inside this frequency, with the envelope still over your heart, and let the weight settle into your bones. I will be here waiting for you when you come back. And you are not alone in this. Right now, all across the world, chosen ones are sitting in this exact same silence, receiving this exact same sod. You are part of a quiet tribe that is rising without announcement. And what waits on the other side of this silence? The sacred partnership, the restored calling, call it destiny's embrace, if you must give it a name, is not something you earn by telling. It is something you receive in secret first. And remember the seed we have been walking with through this entire message. Thursday is not when the seed is revealed to the world. Thursday is when you, the farmer, see the first green shoot of what was planted in the dark. The harvest comes later. The public moment comes later. The secret, for now, stays yours. Before you leave this space, I need to say one more thing, because I do not want you to misread what is about to happen. If Thursday arrives and nothing visible changes on the outside, do not panic. Do not assume the message was wrong. Do not assume the sod was imagined. The farmer who sees the first green shoot does not run into town and dig it up to prove it to the neighbors. The farmer simply knows, and the knowing is the gift. The visible harvest comes in its own time. You are not the person you were when you pressed play on this video. You have been repositioned. You are a truth carrier who walks differently now. You hold your promises differently now. You know who you are in a way you did not know an hour ago. That is not small. That is the kind of shift that changes the next decade of your life. Before you go, type the words, "I am trusted," with sod in the comments. Type it slowly, with the weight of someone who knows who they are. This is the final declaration of this message, and your spirit needs to hear you speak it. If this message brought clarity to your silent season, if it brought peace to the confusion, if it brought confirmation to the thing you have been feeling for weeks but could not name, let your like be your amen without words. Press it gently and send the message further into the night, where another chosen one is sitting in the same quiet you were sitting in an hour ago. And for those who felt called to the tool I mentioned earlier, the one that tunes the soil while the seed does its work, the link is in the description and the pinned comment of this video. Only walk through that doorway if you feel led. Only your spirit can tell you if this is part of your Thursday. And one last thing, one last very important thing. If someone came to mind while you were listening to this message, do not ignore that. If you thought of someone who has grown unusually quiet lately, someone who has been starting sentences and stopping in the middle of them, someone who has been pulling away from people without being able to explain why, someone who looks fine on the outside, but you can feel something sacred moving underneath, send this message to them. Text it, message it, send it however you need to send it. Do not preach to them, do not explain it, just put it in their hands. This might be the exact confirmation they have been praying for in silence, the exact message that helps them understand that their silence is not a punishment and that they are not losing themselves. They are being hidden on purpose. You carrying this to them could be the doorway they have been waiting for. May you carry sod with the dignity of royalty. May Thursday find you ready. May the silence remain sacred. And may every promise buried in your life rise in its own perfect time, protected by the quiet you have learned to keep. You are not leaving a message tonight, chosen one. You are leaving a season. The next season begins Thursday. Stay silent, stay sacred, stay sod.